Good morning, Flosstube. It's Cindy, also known as the Scrappy Chick. Today is Sunday, July 27th, and I have a mid-year WIP parade for you. I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to do a recap of what I've done so far in 2025. So I'm going to go through a handful of finishes, and I will tell you what my new starts are that are then mixed in with my WIPs. I'm going to go into my current WIPs, or WIPs that I've worked on in the last 6-7 months, and then I'll get to the other WIPs that have not been touched this year. And I have actually pre-divided those into WIPs that I plan to work on towards the rest of the year as it gets into fall and Christmas, and then WIPs that I know I'm not going to touch until next year. So it's going to be a pretty long one, but I haven't filmed a Flosstube in 3, 4, 5 months. I'm really bad about regularly getting back on here, and I'm really going to make an effort. I know I always say that, but I am going to make the effort to try to do every 2 weeks. Let's try to get back on track with that. It works best with my schedule, and that's a good time frame. You have quite a bit to show after 2 weeks, but it's not overwhelming and it won't be hour-long videos. So I am also more apt to do them. For those of you that don't know me, just quick recap. Again, my name is Cindy. I'm the Scrappy Chick here on Instagram, and I am also the Scrappy Chick over at Etsy. Scrappy Chick on Flosstube, also on Instagram and on Etsy. I do make project bags, and I am not going to update the shop today, but you're welcome to check that out. That link will be in my bio. I'm sitting on my back porch today. Thought it would be good for lighting. Feel free to let me know if this lighting is better than inside, because I can't seem to get good lighting no matter how many lights I put on near the windows, ring lights. I don't know, something with the new house, just not enough light in there, I guess. But I have been cross-stitching. I started in my 20s, which was 30 plus years ago. But I put it down for many, many years, as many of us did. I scrapbooked for all that time when my children were little, and I piddled around with lots of other crafts, art journaling, stamping, card making, the whole gamut. I pulled out the sewing machine once in a while, but when COVID hit, I was able to take a few-week break from work, still get paid, do some from home. So I started piddling back around with old crafts that I hadn't done in a long time. I started really nesting, I guess. So I pulled back out cross stitch. That was sometime, I guess, in 2020 when COVID hit. Started back quilting. I do quilt some. I haven't done much at all this year. I hate to say, but I do piddle with that some and make project bags. I don't scrapbook anymore. I need to. It's just a lot of more stuff to bring out. I'd like to try knitting and crocheting. I've actually got stuff to start both, so we'll see if that ever comes around. But my Flosstube, or my channel, is going to be mainly about cross stitch. I will throw in some sewing once in a while, like quilting and whatnot, and I will throw in some book talk once in a while. But for today, we're just going to do, like I said, kind of a 2025 recap. I'm going to pause a couple times to go back inside to get new piles. But what I want to do first, I'm going to give you some stats. And this will be really quick, and then we're going to roll right into it. So for 2025 thus far, I have 8 finishes. I started 12 things, of which 2 of those were finishes. And then I worked on 8 other WIPs that were carried over from last year. So that's a total of 26 WIPs I've worked on. So not too bad. It allows someone who's really ADD to hop around from thing to thing. But I found that I also had 31 WIPs that I have not touched so far in 2025. Some of those I do plan to. Some of those I've been in avoidance for quite a while. 8 of them are super close to a finish. 3 are close enough that I really should try to finish them. So we'll get to that later. I want to start really quickly just so I can get them out of the way. There's only 8 with my finishes for 2025. So for January, I had, let's see if I can do this somehow or another. I had Winter Wonderland. This is from Hello from Liz Matthews. And this was the Jingleball piece for her class. And I love it. I just need to, you know, cut it out and sew it into the little pillow, do the beading. I'm really bad about finishing up things that, I don't know, I just put them aside. It's not that I don't want to, I want them finished. I just don't want to do the process of finishing. There's too many other things I'd rather do. So that was January. In February, we'll just hold this right up over the next one, I finished Lovely Hearts, and this is from Textili. I had started this one about a year ago, maybe March or April of last year. I honestly don't remember, but I did get that finished up in February, with plans of finishing it into a pillow to add to my dough bowl. Didn't happen. That's okay. That's okay. It'll happen for next year. I had a new start in February it was a collaboration from Modern Folk Embroidery, Jacob, Caroline at Evertote, and Carrie at Roxy Floss Co. And this is Two Phoenix for You. I started it in February, but I did finish this in March. Absolutely love it. This one I actually got framed because I wanted it right on my wall. I actually finished 3 things in March. The other full finish is Milk and Cream Company. This one I started probably in 2020 or 2021, and I had just been in avoidance for a long, long time. I didn't have that many stitches. I put them in and got her done. And this is from Plum Street Samplers. I think it's on a 32 count. Honestly, don't really remember. It was all the called for threads. I do recall that. And again, that's Plum Street, the Milk and Cream Company. So that was my second finish for March. And then my third was a start and a finish in March, but I didn't get this one fully finished. I wanted a little long Easter something to go in my dough bowl that had nothing for Easter. And this is Easter on the Farm. This is from Croquette A Go-Go. And it's just, you know, part of the pattern. It was a great big pattern, and I pulled out what I wanted. And then I'm going to finish this into a long, skinny pillow to go in my dough bowl. This one is stitched with all of the call for DNC, and it's on 32 count Affogato from Fiber on a Whim. So those were March. In April, I finally finished Strawberry Fair. This was one I had started, I think, for Strawberry Moon last year in June, and it was really close. I didn't have a ton left to do. I had a little bit more of this and I think some of this. And I got that finished in April and did actually make that into a pillow because why not, right? The back, I did it upside down. I did the whole, I've never done that before, and did the like felt heart or wool heart. I don't like it. I will go back to finishing at the bottom, I think, because I also did it upside down like an idiot. So that was March. That was April. And then in May, I met my goal for the year. This is American Welcome from Plum Street Samplers. This was a stitch along that I did with a bunch of friends. It is on 36 count Winter Brew from R&R, and I used all the called for floss from Color and Cotton, and I love the way it turned out. I was so burnt out by the last of it. I love it, but I just was so tired of stitching on it at that point. But we spread it out over a year, so it ended up being about 1,400 stitches a month over the course of the year, and it got done, which is great. I fizzled out on framing it for the year, but absolutely love the way it turned out. And then my one finish for June was All Treats, No Tricks. This is from the Witchy Stitcher. Are they not precious? Oh my gosh, love them. This is stitched with Cottage Garden threads. This was my first time using those. And this was one I think I started last Halloween, and it was pretty close. I just had this one little guy to go, a little bit of border, and a couple, little doolollies. So I got that one done, and it just needs to be made into maybe a little pillow before fall. Want to back up, hang on. So the American Welcome, I did keep up on, as I said. The other one that I kept up on, I think this was the first style that I started and finished in a timely manner. No, it was the second. The other one was also Evertote and Modern Silk Embroidery. I finished that last year. But I actually kept up with this from week 1 all the way through. It was the Galentine sale, and I was so proud of myself. So I think that's why I wanted to frame it off the bat. And just, you know, love the colors for my craft room. It's nice and bright. But so that's 3 sales now in 5 years that I've kept up with and finished. I'm not really good about that usually, but I wanted to give myself kudos for those couple of things. So that was it for finishes. I'm gonna mix in the new starts with the WIPs that I have going in progress, because I didn't think to sort them out that way. So I'll tell you as we come along. But as I said, I had a total of 12 new starts. 2 of them you just saw the finishes for. In January I had 1 start, February 1, March was 2, April was 1, May for May Madness, May, what do you call that? Everybody has a word for it. May, not May Madness, Mania, for Stitch Mania. I wasn't about to start 30 or 31 new things, so I started 4. I started 1 for each weekend. I did miss 1 weekend, so that's okay. You know, you make your own rules. So 4 starts in May, 1 in June, and 2 so far in July. I do have 1 more planned start. I'm hoping to get it started. We'll see. Who knows? So again, I'm going to mix those in with my regular WIPs. So all that you're getting ready to see next is the WIPs, I can't talk today, WIPs that I have worked on in 2025. And then we'll pause for a break after this and then come back to the ones I have not worked on in 2025 that are sadly in neglect. I'm going to pause right now really quickly, check on my dogs, be right back. Quick coffee break, dogs are fine. They like to be outside with me, so I wanted to make sure they weren't at the door whining. I can't really hear over all the birds chirping and the frogs. Okay, so this is in no particular order. These are things that were not finished that I have worked on in 2025, and this happens to be the most recent that I have pulled out. This is Goody Grimwood. This is where I am on this. I'll show you the pattern and the floss, sorry. There's the pattern. It's from Plum Street Samplers, and my friend Laura and I started this, oh gosh, the fall before last, and we did what we called a Plum Street pumpkin sale. She got hers done. She actually got 2 done. She made me a little pillow too, and here I am just, you know, floundering along. That's the pretty colors for this one. I am determined this is going to get done this year, and it's actually really, really close. I have put in, let me find Goody Grimwood, almost 1,200 stitches this month, so it had been in neglect until now, and I, this week, have kind of made a deal with myself. It's sort of my thread a day. So at least 4 or 5 times a week, I want to put 1 or 2 threads in on it, just in between other things or before I sit down to do something else. And my deal with myself, I went ahead and outlined the rest of the pumpkins, the flower, and the bird tail, so that if I put in 1 or 2 stitches of green or 1 or 2 lengths of thread of the Oscar, then I'm allowed to go to a color and fill in. And then once I can get all that filled in, I think there's only 2 more flowers and some vines. I've still got, you know, the windows there, but for the most part, that can totally be done before Halloween. I'm one of these that wants to start decorating for fall in early August, but I really don't start until probably September. I'm already feeling the vibes big time. I'm not a summer person. I do not like the heat. Much to my husband's chagrin, he is a summer person. Yeah, is what it is. Anyway, I love me some fall. So that one, I can't remember when I'm stitching that on. If anybody wants to know, I do make notes of all this, but if it's not currently in my mind or still attached to the fabric, I don't remember. So that was Goody Grimwood. All right, the next one that I have been working on most recently is Winter Moon This is also a Plum Street. Here's this one. I really like this whole dividing things up over the course of a year. American Welcome was the first I had done. This is actually kind of the third one, but I'm keeping up on this one. And it has 4 pages, 2 of them are larger. So we did those in quarter pages each month. And then the last 2 were doing half pages. So, you know, a little chunk at a time to work at that really big project. So this is where I am on this one. Last month I worked on this little, I call it a quadrant, it's not. This little section down here, I did carry into this, and I had done some of this. So I told myself I'm more than caught up and didn't finish the little bit of fencing right there. But this month I am working on this section right here. And I'm honestly about done. I probably have one more good session to get the rest of that brickwork done, and then I'll be caught up on that one. And that makes me very, very happy. As I said, I've not really been one to keep up with stitch-alongs, and then lately I'm putting more things on the back burner and trying to keep up with the things that I've started. That's the palette for that one. That one is Classic Color Works, Week Style Works, and some DMC. And it is being stitched on 36 count Saltbush from Fox and Rabbit. Love where it's at so far. Oh, and I'm not showing you project bags, sorry. This is the project bag that one is living in. And I'm trying to keep my pile somewhat neat so this won't be a complete disaster at the end of the day. Winter Moon. So far this year, I did start this last year. I started it in, I believe, December, so I don't have those stats. But so far in 2025, I have put in 10,658 stitches. Yes, 10,000. That might be, it's not the most. I'll let you know when we get to the most. Actually, I think it's next. No, it's not. But I will let you know. So anyway, that's a lot of stitches. I'm just very proud of myself. I'm usually so bad at not finishing things, just piling them up, setting it aside because I get bored. But that's okay. Next up is hummingbirds. It's ruby-throated hummingbirds, and this was an exclusive from Spring Mingle from Lindy Stitches. The designer is Amity, and her company, I'm blanking, sorry, is Boomerangstitches. And I started a sow with this one, which is Boomerang Bird Sow. If anybody wants to join me over on Instagram, I have 2 different Boomerangstitches patterns going, both with birds. The one I had wanted did not come in time, so I bought the exclusive and jumped in on that one. This is where I am. So I've got one of the hummingbirds and the big part of that flower. I still have to come around here, and there's another bird. So I'm going to put a picture right here of the actual pattern, set it and print it out. I do most of my stitching in either Markup XP or Pattern Keeper. I do have both. I way prefer Markup. The only reason I keep Pattern Keeper around, I'll actually talk about that when I get to that pattern, and I'll see if anybody has any suggestions. But most of my digital stuff is in Markup, and I absolutely love it. That's the color palette. How fun is that? That's just DMC, but that just jumps off. I absolutely love it. This is a 32 count. I didn't write down what this one was. I got it at Barefoot Needleart, so it might be one of theirs. It might be a Rogue fabric. I really don't recall. This is the project bag it's living in. Sorry. And for hummingbirds, I put in so far this year a total of 3,300 stitches. And I started that one in May. That was one of my Mania starts. So not too bad, not too shabby. Here's one that I started last year. This is, this was started for Sampler September, and I joined in and got the kit box from Evertote. It was a collaboration between Evertote and Maximum Cross Stitch and Roxy Floss Co. and the yarn I don't remember. There's a yarn dyer. They didn't do it this year. I apologize, I can't remember the name of the yarn because I haven't started knitting yet. That was the second bundle, we'll say, that I got towards wanting to learn. But anyway, that aside, this is the pattern. Again, this is Ellen from Maximum Cross Stitch, and I started this last September for Sampler September. I have most of the hills I have to do over here. I have not done the alphabet, and I'm trying to slowly plug away at that border. This is where I am on that. They're gonna have, whoops, the rest of this hill and this hill, a few houses, and I have to do all that alphabet. And there is the color palette for that. That is -1 that I stole for a different project. Oops. As I said, I got the full kit. It came with the cute bag. It also came with a little notions pouch. And since I got the full kit, it also came with beautiful yarn and another project bag for that. But I didn't bring that out since I don't knit, haven't started it. If I ever get around to it, I will share that, absolutely. So for this one, I'd kind of like to have it done before this September. But it's not really been a goal to get it finished as far as like a focus piece, so it's probably not going to happen. But I would like to get a lot more progress before I start this year's Sampler September. So for this one though, which again is September's Return from Maximum Cross Stitch, it's being stitched on, I'm using all the called for Roxy Floss, and Pantone is the linen color, and I'm stitching on most likely 32, I don't recall. So far this year, again, last year's when I started it, but so far this year I have put in, if I can find it, 2,373 stitches. So I pulled that out a couple of months and worked pretty heavy on that, trying to get caught up. The next one is a new start for the year, and this is Emma Carriage. This is from 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers, and the owner's name, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on it, is Leanne. She does some fabulous stuff, and this one caught my eye because of the pink. I love pink. And who does a classic sampler on a bright fabric? Apparently Leanne does it. I love it. There's a couple out there that are floating around right now too, from other designers, and this has really got me wanting to stitch samplers. So Caroline at Evertote had started this, and I went, oh my gosh, I got to do it. So this is Emma Carriage, the Upping of the King Swans, and this is where I am on this one. So I've gotten mostly across that top border, started down the sides, and done a few of the motifs. I have not worked on this lately. Here's the colors. And the colors are so pastel, but when you put them on that bright pink fabric, like holy cow, it really jumps out. And that fabric, sorry, is, I can never remember the name. That is Temptation. That is also from Roxy Floss Co. And I'm doing this on a 36 count, but I'm doing 2/2. I like the coverage of 2/2. 32, I always do it. 36, I'm back and forth. I'm not a big 40 count sampler. You get 40 count linen stitcher, and you're getting ready to see one of those in a minute. So my sweet spot is either 32 or 36. A looser 36 or a tighter 32, if that makes sense. It's what I like to stitch on. But anyway, so I'm pretty pleased with the progress that I have on this one. This one I started also in March, and I've done 2,866 stitches on it. I need to get back to it. I say that, or I'm gonna say that about so many, it's just not even funny. I made this project bag actually specifically for that project because the colors reminded me of it. So let me move on. Again, that was Emma Carriage. Okay, next. Here's another new start that you haven't seen. This is from Julie at, I can never remember Julie. Oh my God, it's either Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World or Colorado Girl in a Kansas City World. And for the life of me, I cannot remember which it is. Anyway, she's got a great floss tube. She has her own company as well. She designs, she designs new patterns, but she also does reproduction samplers. And she is one of the ones that has some like really bright, fun stuff going on right now. Her design company is called Hemlock and Rye, and I'll link that below. You could probably find it from her Flosstube, but since the name is different, I'm going to link that one below. This one is called, oh my gosh, Agnes Cairn. I believe it's 1817. Don't remember the year, but it's Agnes Cairn. And I have this little corner going. That so far is, let's see how many I have in on Agnes. I started her in May, and I have 1,882 stitches. My goal was 1,000 this month. I've only hit 200 for this month because I really want to get going on her. She's going to be pretty big. I'm going to insert a picture right here of what this one should look like or will look like. I'm stitching this on 40 count Mellow Stone from Atomic Ranch. I did my own Roxy Flossco conversion. She had stitched it originally in DMC, and I kind of brightened up some of the colors and muted down others. I tried to make it work with other things that would be in my home, so it'll, you know, coordinate without messing too much with the integrity of the piece or of what she had charted, if that makes sense. It's living in this project bag, and all the project bags, except for the couple that I've gotten from Evertote, I believe all project bags have been made by me through the years. Okay. So that is Agnes. Loving her, but I am ready to get down to that big orange house. That's what I'm excited about. So let me put her aside. Okay, next. This is one that I started last summer. I started this with Callie and Christy from Floss Boss and Cousins, and this stitch along was called Three is Better Than One, Sal. There we go. My brain is old, sorry. It is from Blackbird Designs. It's the Loose Feathers series. You have summer, fall, and winter. Hang on. Or I can say hold, please. This is the summer that I'm working on now. I started this last year, and I really want to get on to fall because I love fall. I am over summer, I'm over the weather, I'm over the heat. I am kind of over the summer stitching, honestly, too, unless it's just bright and fun. But this is what summer will look like. This is where I am. Hold this up. So I actually last year had started in fall to carry the alphabet across into fall, and then promptly put this down and got sidetracked. So I came back to this. I have a little bit more through here, carry that border down, and I think 2 letters, and then I can go on into fall. I am using the Vicki Clayton silk conversion. I believe I got this at Garon Stitchery last year, something like that. Anyway, so I'm loving it. It's a beautiful piece. This is being stitched on 36 count. I believe it's called Stone Fruit, and I don't remember the maker. I want to say it's either Atomic Ranch or Rogue, but I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure it's Stone Fruit, and I do know it's 36 count. But I think it's turning out lovely. So my goal is by the end of the summer to get summer done. I don't have much left, and I have almost a month of summer left, unfortunately. That one I have put in 917 stitches. I just pulled it out, I believe this month, and started in on that. Sorry, that's living in this project bag, which I had also specifically made for that project. All right, we're getting there. All right, next up. This one I need to work on this week. This is, when I talk about Sal's, so Lola Crow. If you don't know, you don't know. She does some fabulous projects, and yearly she does a huge sale. And last year was Deadly Aquarium, and I will show you that one later. The 2 years before, I didn't know who she was, so I didn't get involved on those. And this year's Extraordinary Birds. So you get about 4 to 6 weeks at the beginning to do the frame before she starts doing a weekly release. And the frame alone it's like 6,000 stitches. 6,000 stitches to get done in like 6 weeks of basically 1 or 2, 3 colors. I was determined. I got so far in Dudley Aquarium last year and just lost gumption at whatever point. So I am so determined to keep up with this one based on the fact that I have kept up with a couple of others over the last year. I keep saying, like, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. Anyway, this is where we are right now. As far as the releases go, I still have to do that peacock. He was released last Friday, like Friday a week ago, and there was a break this week. We still have maybe 6 more weeks to go. The copy, I don't even know how to explain it, the download that I got that normally just goes right into Pattern Keeper and is no problem, it is not matching the grid lines, and I got super frustrated, and I need to revisit that, see if anybody else has had a problem, how they fixed it, because everything that I've done should have fixed my problem, and it's not fixing my problem. So I still need to do this last week to get caught up for next Friday. But anyway, with all that being said, this is where I am on this one. It's looking great. I love her styles. Like, all the detail in her shading is just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I mean, look at that guy. Oh my gosh. Very, very fun stitch, always. I'm using all the called for DNC. Ton of fun, bright colors. And this is Ice Queen 32 count from Roxy Floss Co. It's like a, I don't know if it's showing up better out here than it does in my pictures. It's like a purpley gray with a little bit of blue teal to it. It's a beautiful color. And I have another 1/8 yard piece too, so I can do something else fun with that. But anyway, this has been very fun. I need to figure out what's wrong. But that brings me, hang on, let me show you the project bag. Little project bag. That brings me to the Pattern Keeper thing I was going to talk about. So the only reason I've kept Pattern Keeper around is because each week you can export your progress in the chart that you've already got in there. And then the next week she's going to give you a new, words are so hard today, a new download. And that is obviously, you know, the entire chart up to there. So you have to then download that and then import your old progress into that one so you know where you are on the whole thing. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I haven't figured out how to do that in Markup XP. I can export it, but I can't figure out how to then import my progress into the new file. If anybody out there knows how to do that, please let me know, because I way prefer Markup XP. The details and all are just so much cooler, and maybe I'll talk about that one video. But anyway, so that's why I have both. That is literally, except for things that I have previously loaded into Pattern Keeper, that is the only reason I keep that one around. All right, so Extraordinary Birds. This is the one I was saying has the most stitches for the year for me, and that is a whopping 12,750 stitches. I started that one in April. All right, next. Weeds and Wildflowers. This is from the Artsy Housewife. This might have been, this was not the first I started of hers. Take that back. I started this last year for Caroline at Evertote. Had the big 50 birthday sow. And there was a kit, and of course I got the kit. And it had the pattern, the floss, the neo minder, the whole 9 yards. So this is the pattern. It's called Weeds and Wildflowers. It's on beautiful buttercup linen from Roxy Floss. Hang on. That needle minder is really heavy. It came with a needle minder and the Roxy Floss. What a gorgeous palette. And again, I think I stole a color out of that for a new project that I'm waiting for my order on. So I've almost got that moth done. I have a little bit more here. There's a jumbo flower and a little flower and a lot more border. So I still have a long, long way to go on that one. But that's okay. I love that one. It's a great fall piece. That's living in this bag. Weeds and Wildflowers, I actually did not start until January. Don't know why. I kept it in my stash for literally, what, 5-6 months? And I've gotten so far this year a total of 4,300, almost 4,400 stitches in on that one. I haven't pulled it out for a couple of months. It's calling me, but I have other goals I want to get done. So we'll see, but love it, absolutely love it. All right, put that one aside. And I'm running out of room, so I'm going to take a quick break. Okay, I'm back. Much later than I anticipated to be. I was just going to rearrange, come right back out. It was getting super hot, and I had to go see my dad this afternoon, so I decided to go ahead and do that and then come back and finish Flosstube. So, where we were was the middle of the WIPs that I had worked on this year. So next up is, this is the day. This is from Plum Street Samplers. And this is one I've been working on for 3 or 4 years probably. This is the color palette. Very, very pretty. This is, I don't know if you can see it through the glare, what it's going to look like when it's done. The project bag it lives in, super old. And it still needs a few more words, a little more brickwork. Something over here, I think it's a flower, I can't remember. And I honestly am thinking about just taking this out. You can't see the ram. You're not going to be able to see, I believe there's more of them over here. So I might truncate it. I pulled it out a couple of Sundays thinking I would make this again my Sunday stitch, which I had for a while, and I just got fizzled out on it again. I love the colors. I love the piece. I just worked on it so long a few years ago and just, you know, moved on. It is what it is. I really do want that one finished, though. It's beautiful. It's a spring piece, so I need to pull it out in the winter when I'm ready for spring, and then I think I would be more in the mood to do it. The next one, and this is going to be a hard one to show in its entirety that I have. This is Shores of Hawk Run Hollow. Let me show you first. This is the one picture, a little bit better. It's from Carriage House Samplings. And I am stitching this over 4 years. I started it right, airplane, hang on. I started it right after Leap Day last year, and it's a leap year sale, leap day sale, don't know what we call that. Anywho, it was Nancy the Disorderly Stitcher that came up with this one, and we are stitching a quarter of a block each month, so that way over 4 years we'll have all 12 blocks done. One being, actually, there's only 11 blocks, but this is, you know, part 1 and part 2. This has been pretty intensive on some months, and this is the color palette, sorry. Beautiful colors. I didn't really like that goldish amber, so I pulled for this one Persimmon from Fiber on a Whim, and I do love the way this is looking. I was wanting it to look more like the colors in my camper if it ever goes to live at the beach. So, kind of all together there. Oh my goodness, you're never going to be able to see this. Alright, all together there. I don't know if the whole thing's in the frame. Hopefully it is. So we've got block 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The first 4 months, I stuck with it. I did great. The second quarter, I jumped down here, and that house was pretty stitch heavy, so I did not get that done. And then the next quadrant, this was, I guess, over like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and I really didn't even like the block with the colors, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that. The next 4, though, I did get that one done. And then for July, I finally got to start the next block. So I've got about a quarter of that done. It doesn't really look like it, but the moon is going to be stitch heavy. There's a bunch of words, which are easy. And then that border alone is almost 400 stitches. So I did get that done. So I'm still mostly on track to get this done in the time period that I had allotted for it. I'm hoping to. I need to do a little catch up, and that was intended during the block that I'm on right now. Again, it's this one, which is not very stitch heavy, to try to go back and fill in this. And I just don't like that block. I don't really like the colors that are pulled together. I don't know, I need to do something with that so I'll like it better. And I do love this block. I just need to get back on that. But I'm doing other houses right now, so I didn't really feel like catching up on something stitch heavy there. This is the folder it's living in. So let me lay that one aside. So that's Shores of Hawk Run Hollow. Next is, this was a new start. This was one of my mania starts. And I started this one with my friend Joy. She had started a Mirabilia, and I was like, oh, I need to do a Mirabilia May with you. And I started talking about this one, and we were talking about a Halloween one, and starting it at the end of the month. So we both actually landed on Halloween Fairy, which I picked up, I believe, last summer down at Barefoot Needleart when I was down there. And she had actually had it for some time. I did a Roxy Floss Co. conversion. I am loving these colors, even though I love that this color is, what is this one? Bellini. It's beautiful. I think that's going to be a little bright for her skin tone. So I've actually emailed Hannah, Floss Boss and Hannah, and asked her for a suggestion for that. But this is where I am. I've got this much on the wing, and I started it on the body. And I'm working on this towards the end of the month. I think Joy finally did get hers started. She started a little later than I did, but I think she did some work on that last month. This is the bag that one's living in. Very pleased with that one. I'm stitching that one on 36 count lavender tea from Under the Sea. And I'm doing 2 over 2 again with the Roxy Floss conversion that I put together. All right, so let's put that one aside. Next is another artsy housewife. I'll insert a picture of this one here. And this is one that I started with my friend Amy, AES8. I can never remember her Instagram handle. It'll be down below. But Amy Swihart. And we were talking about starting something together. So we started this a couple of weeks ago. And this is where I am on this. This is Ferns and Flowers from Artsy Housewife. That is my full Roxy conversion. I'm still kind of picking as I go. I had a few colors I was in love with. I'm in love with both of these oranges, but the darker one was getting lost in the geranium, and geranium is a called for. And the brighter one, I just wasn't sure. I was doing it down here and I loved it, but I wasn't sure if it was going to go quite right with the geranium. So I ordered the called for orange to see if that's going to be better. And then I think I have the other called for and then subbed out the others. So that's actually, oh my gosh, let me move my notes over. I started this in July, and that's actually 1,300 stitches already. Doesn't look like it, but it totally is. I'm stitching this on Biscuit, also from Roxy Floss Co. All of that is available at Evertote.ca. This is the little bag I made for me and Amy. I decided to try a new style to do the little gusset bottom. And I was using bits and pieces of what I had because I thought the bee would be fun for Ferns and Flowers since it has the bees up in the top corner. So I didn't have a really large piece, so I did a tall skinny bag. But I think it turned out pretty cute. I am happy with that. So that's Ferns and Flowers. And I did not tell you on the last two, sorry, my stitch count. Shores of Hawk Run Hollow, I have 9,574 stitches in this year so far. And then Halloween Fairy, which was a May start, is 1,168. So, okay, let me keep going. Next, this was supposed to be my Boomerang Bird South start that I wanted to start at Midsummer Stitch. And I didn't get the pattern in time. It came a little late, which is why I ended up getting the hummingbird pattern instead, also from Boomerangstitches. So this one I started in July for Jolly July. And, oh, this is a picture, what it'll look like. And then this is where I am on this one. And I absolutely love this. I ordered the Roxy Floss conversion that Hannah did from the DMC called for that Amity had put into the pattern. And I love the way these colors are turning out. Absolutely gorgeous. This one is being stitched on 32 count, I can't remember if this is porcelain or dirty porcelain. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I think this is porcelain, also from Roxy Floss Co. But I don't recall. I think it's regular porcelain, but it is a 32 count. That one is living in this project bag. All right, moving on. We're still on the ones that I have been working on this year. Bauble Birds, I have 1,246 stitches in so far. Next, this was a a very impromptu start. This was another one that I had saw Carolyn stitching. She had kitted it up. So of course I bought the kit because I loved what she was doing. This is Strawberry Pincushion from Whilst Iris Naps. And I'd never done a pincushion, so I was like, okay, it's time to try one of those. And the colors are so pretty on that strawberry. I love the pattern. I am doing, as I said, from the kit. So this is all Roxy Floss Co. This is where I am on the top of the pincushion. This is the conversion, which I think is just absolutely gorgeous. Hannah does a great job with that. And I did also start in on the border. So it's going to be stitches, a border all the way around, and then top bottom on that. So I'm a good chunk into that one. I am probably well on my way to 50% or beyond. I don't have this in a digital format, so I'm not sure exactly. This one I started in, let me find it. I think it was in June. It was. I started this for the Strawberry Moon Sow that Marjorie May does. So I started this in June, and I have 1,571 stitches in so far. Oh, and the linen is Billie Jean. It is a 28 count. That's what came in the kit, and that's the project bag. That one's living in one of those vinyl ones. Those were the original ones I made back in the day, which I don't really care for them anymore, but I still utilize what I have, right? Okay, next. This is the last one in this pile that I've worked on this year. So total of, what did we say, 26 WIPs that I've worked on in 2025 so far. This is Ann Richardson, age 9, from My Sister Samplers. I started this last year for Tiger Lily's birthday sale, and I love the colors, just absolutely adore them. It had a, I can't think of the name of them. It was called for Vicki Clayton Silks, so that's what I got. And it does have a DMC conversion. I can't talk today. I think I said that earlier. Hasn't gotten any better as the day has gone on. The Vicki Claytons are just beautiful. They're so smooth and easy to work with. So I have most of that top alphabet area done and started in on the numbers, a little bit more of the swirly border, and I couldn't stand it. I had to start a flower. So getting ready to work on all the fun bits and pieces now. So Ann Richardson, I worked on 981 stitches so far this year. I think I only worked on it 1 or 2 months, but sometimes that's all it takes to get a little bit of progress in on it and remember how much you love something that you started and put away. So that's that one. Okay, so those are all the ones that have gotten some love this year. And now what I wanted to do was I have all the ones that I have not worked on. And first I pulled the pile of, these are almost done, this is ridiculous, I need to sit down and do them, and I could probably knock all these out in just a few days. All right. I'm going to put the whole pile on the board here. First up is Sting Like a Bee from Heartstring Sampler. I started this one with my daughter a couple years ago. We were working on it together. She's definitely fizzled out. She says one day I'll get back to it and we should do it together, blah, blah, blah. We haven't put any stitches on this in well over a year, so I think it's time for me to go ahead and get that one finished. This was the bag that I made for both of us. The colors are so pretty. They're kind of very summer and very fall at the same time. And I do have the coordinating float that goes with that, which was from, I believe that one's Plum Street, I can't remember. So I will start that on the other piece of my linen, but that's where I am. I have the large bee and then the little bee and the flowers, and it's done. So that would be 1 or 2 good evenings of stitching, and that's it, and we can call it a finish. So I think since it's bee season, I have converted my house now from patriotic into sunflowers and bees. So it's full on bee season in my house. So I really should get that done. So speaking of bees, I had started in May during, when did I start this? This must have been also at Spring Mingle. There was a class and it was This Bee's Got Knees. Let me see if I can find the top. Actually, we're completely upside down. That's the top. This is almost done. This maybe has 20 or 30 stitches. Just a couple little of these little brown ones that are missing over here, and there's a couple of the light color leaves, I believe. But it's almost completely done, so there's no reason why I can't go ahead and put this together and again get it out for bee season. That's the beautiful palette. I'm not normally a real pastel stitcher, but when you put it on that darker fabric, it's so pretty. And this is a Weeks Dye Works. I forgot how much I really don't enjoy stitching on that. That's 32 count. It's loose, it's relatively easy to see, but it's just too wiggly, for lack of a better word. And that's living in this bag. I'm not going to show you a picture of that one because it is basically complete. The next two I have talked about literally for the last 2 or 3 years of WIP parades, and it's just so stupid that I don't do every time what I'm going to say, and that's get it out and finish it. And one is the Heartfelt Stitch Along, and the other is Serendipity. So Heartfelt, I'm only at like halfway, but I had decided last year, well, hey, the border's the same all the way across. Let's just finish that up right there. So that is literally, what, 2.5 hearts. And it's done. And I have the matching quilt, so it's really stupid for me to not finish that. The other one living in that bag, this was another charity stitch along at Fat Quarter Shop, and this is Serendipity. I chose the Corey Yoder fabric for my quilts, which I never did actually do that quilt. I have a lot of the pieces cut, and I should go back and do that. So I matched my DMC colors to the Corey Yoder fabric, and this is what I came up with, and I absolutely love it. And it is literally just missing a little bit down here at the bottom. No reason why I haven't finished that one either. So this is my year. I've been setting goals the last few months, and a lot of those are stitch alongs. So that takes up a lot of my month. And I do 1 or 2 in season. I may pull something a couple seasons ahead that I'm in the mood for. Like right now, I've been really in the mood for fall. So I'm doing some fall stitching. But I really need to make a point every month to knock 2 of these out, 1 of these out, anything, just to get them out of the WIP pile and into the finish pile, which then obviously need to be finished. The other one in this pile really just needs to get done is, I think it's called Gnome Love, and it is another, I believe, Croquette a Go-Go. I'm just missing some beard and a couple little hearts. That's it. Super easy little Valentine pillow. It's ridiculous that I haven't finished it. And then the next one, these next 2, y'all have seen these over and over and over again. Summer Signs from Tiny Modernist. I started these, oh my gosh, 4 or 5 years ago. And yeah, it's just silly. I have, that one complete. I have that one complete. And all this needs is the rest of the words and the sunglasses. And that's it. And then I'll have 3. I was going to do all 4. I think I might call it a day because I don't really enjoy stitching on Ada anymore, which is why this doesn't call me, I'm pretty sure. But I think they're so cute. The colors are so bright and fun. Like, why wouldn't I go ahead and make those for little pillows for my camper and call it a day on those, because they're so cute. So cute. Okay. So that's that one. The next one, oh, actually there's 2 more in this pile, is another one I've been talking about. This is the Summer Berry Pincushion from Blackbird Designs. It's in the Agnes Platt Strawberry Sampler book, which I've done another one out of this. I don't know which one it is right now. But this one is almost done. I had stopped because I didn't like the white. It wasn't going to show up. I picked a pink 4 years ago when I didn't have much of a stash, and it didn't go, and I've just never frogged it out and gone back to stash to finish this. So I need to finish that strawberry, add my name, a little bit in the urn, and a couple more leaves, and it's done. Super easy. Why haven't I done that? Don't know. I don't want to frog it out. I think it's the main reason. I said that was the last in the pile. It's not. There's actually one more. The case is really small that it sits in. This one, I think I actually did work on this year. I had to have, because this is a spring piece. And I don't know that I have. Oh, I do have stats for you. Sorry. This is one that I worked on. I apologize. But it's near a finish, so it ended up in this pile by mistake. And that is Spring Folk from Hands On Design. I started this last year. I think the Sarah's, Handmade by Sarah W. and Stitchy, Sarah Reed's. I can't remember their names, but y'all know who I'm talking about. They were both doing this. And I stitched a lot last year, fizzled out, and then came back to it this year, and it is almost done. I did do 5,700 stitches on this one this year. So I need to do the specialty stitches. I need to finish this. I need to finish that. There's some specialty stitches in here, a couple stems, but for the most part, this is so close to done, it's just not even funny. It's the project bag it's living in. So there's no reason why I shouldn't just go ahead, even though it's not spring. I'm tempted to put it off till next spring, but then it becomes a 3-year project, and I'm way less likely to finish that. So, yeah. Do you feel my pain? I think you feel my pain. I'm gonna break really quickly and go get the next pile. I went from the next pile, it started to rain, I took it in, it stopped, and now it's starting again. I cannot win today. I think we're gonna have to move you guys inside, or else finish it another day. Maybe I'll just give it a minute. This is frustrating. Let's see if I can get through this pile. So, all of the next ones you see, I also have not worked on this year, and this is the pile that I feel like I am going to put off until next year and try to focus on then, because I don't think I'm going to give them any love this year. This one is Salute to Abigail. It is a Blackbird Designs, and it is in Sweet Land of Liberty, that book. It is living in this project bag. Try not to get things wet if it wants to rain. And this is where I am on this one. I love this piece. I just, for whatever reason, I was not feeling stitching patriotic before 4th of July, and I was kind of feeling it that week, but I knew I had so much to do that it was not going to happen. I am stitching with MPI Silks, my own conversion, and this is a 40 count, don't know, can't remember, dark cobblestone. I think it's just Zweigart, honestly, but I'm not for sure on that. Beautiful piece, and I just need to work on it next year, maybe make that a focus. It is raining. I give up again. I am going to have so much editing to do on this video, it's not even going to be funny. It can't decide if it wants to rain or not. The next one is one that I started with, I believe my friends Hannah and Laura. Textile Crafts is Hannah, is Laura, and then Hannah is, I can't remember her Instagram handle off the top of my head, and she is also on Flosstube. They both are. Hannah, I'm so sorry. It'll all be below. Anyway, they had started a sal with the greatest of these. This is Faith, and they were going to do all 3 over the course of the year. This is the color palette for that. Project bag that I made for that. And this is my progress. I bought the kit from, I don't remember, maybe 123 Stitch. I don't think that's who it was. I forget who I bought the kit from. But it had the 40 count called for linen, which is, hang on and I'll tell you, Milk and Honey from Fiber on a Whim. So I did get the full kit for this one. And I started it because I wanted to jump in with my friends, and I just, it fell to the wayside, as so many things do. So it's going to get put away until next year. And this is one that I started a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I'm really blanking on names today. I shouldn't be doing this video today. Oh my gosh, what is her name? I can see her face and everything. Katie, so tattered, started a stitch along with La Maison Sampler. And this was when the Spanish Stitcher, Trelly, had just started out. And I hopped in on this because I loved the colors. It's not my usual palette at all. I am really not a neutral kind of girl. But it's going to go perfect in the place where I want it. But I am just never drawn to work on this one. I thought about it this year a few times, and it just kept losing to the other things that I wanted to work on. So that one is also going to get put aside for a while. That's the project bag it's living in. Next is, these are pieces that, again, I love. This is the Garden Club series from Blackbird Designs. And I have, quite a few of the books. This particular one is Honeybee. And you can stitch them and stitch them all together into a larger piece, or they show you framed, or they show you little pillows. Lots of different options. And I absolutely love them. And again, I know exactly where I want this. I want these in my bedroom because some seasons I go for more of the muted blues towards aquas and teals in there, and some seasons I go for more of the peaches into reds. So I think the combination would be really pretty and kind of pull together, what do you put in a room where you're constantly changing the decor based on what sheets you're putting on your bed and what quilt you're in the mood to put. So these are perfect for that, and I know that's like probably way too much, information, but anyway, this is where I am on that one. Again, never drawn to work on it. I don't know why. It's stitching beautifully. I'm stitching this on 32 count, the called for weeks. And I know I said earlier I don't like stitching on weeks. I do actually like this one. I don't know why. The other one was tin roof, and this one I don't recall, but I'm not struggling as much with this one. And the flosses are a combination of Jingleball's Classic Colorworks and maybe some weeks in there. I think it's mainly Jingleball on these. They're so pretty. They're so just timeless. All of Blackbird Designs things are. But I'm just not, I'm not feeling it. This is the project bag it lives in. All right, next. Oh, this is sad. You see these, when I was sorting this pile earlier, I was really struggling with, oh yeah, I'm gonna work on that this year, versus it's just really not gonna happen. And this is one, it's probably really not gonna happen. I worked on it quite a bit last year. I started it the winter before. This is Peace on Earth Sampler from Cottage Garden Samplings, and I think it's just beautiful. I love this pink orange house. I know earlier there was an orange house I couldn't wait to get to in Hemlock and Rye. Something about an orange house. Who wants an orange house? But I want to stitch an orange house. Anywho, so I don't think I'm going to come back to this one this year. This is the color palette. This is where I am so far. Gotten a nice little chunk of progress done with the border. There is one more big chunk down below it. And then this is the halfway, I think, across the top. So there's still a ton to do. Yeah. That is coexisting in a bag. So let me show you what else is in there. And this one is pitiful. This was my birthday start 2 years ago. And it was really just that, just to start. This is Frederick. And this is from Carriage House Samplings. I love him, and I love Frederica. Let me see if she's pictured. She's not pictured. He has a sweetheart, and her name is Frederica, and they are, complimentary pieces. And I think they are just absolutely freaking fabulous. But I can't seem to get back to this one. I bought all the MPI silks for it. Beautiful, beautiful palette. Got all the way around that border into 3 months, and haven't literally touched it since. And if I did, it was maybe for 30 or 40 stitches one day, but not this year. I know it wasn't this year. So I'm going to put those aside and maybe try to focus on one or both of those next year. So far this is only leaving me, I think, about 7 or 8, with a hope of next year picking maybe 3 or 4 to be focuses, if not to finish, to get a lot of progress on. That's kind of, my thought process, at least. I know I won't get all these big ones finished, but let's at least get them to 25%, 50%, something like that. I dropped something, hang on. All right, sorry. So the next one is A Buzz at Midnight. Loved this from the minute it came out. Hello from Liz Matthews. And I had wanted to start it and just didn't get around to it. And then last summer, when I was all in bee mood and I was down at Barefoot Needleart and I had seen the cottage garden threads. I had already at that point stitched something. I forget what my first project was with these. But I fell in love. I was like, oh my goodness, aren't those pretty? Those are fun. They're really no prettier than other things, but I don't know. It's just something about a new kind of thread. The variegation's pretty. They are lovely. This is the one that caught me. I love the variegation in that. So I had picked these, and I had earlier seen this linen, and I thought, ooh, wouldn't that be fun? It's actually not showing up quite as much as I would like. I kind of wish I had gotten a darker purple. And I do have a darker purple, but it's definitely the wrong shade. So I can't decide if I want to restart this or just keep on plugging away. I could also put it on an aqua, but then I would lose the aqua flowers. So I think if I work on this beehive, bee skep, and the bees with the black, I think it may make the whole thing pop. I'm not sure. And I really should be doing this for bee season right now, but I'm not feeling drawn to it. So we're going to put it away. It has its own special project bag as well that I made for it with the purples and the yellows. And it's funny sometimes how the pieces that you really, really want to start and you jump into later, you're just not drawn to. And it's different reasons. Sometimes it's the count of the fabric. Sometimes it's the color of fabric you're working on. Sometimes it's just not the right season. I don't really know what it is with, honestly, any of the ones in this pile. Nothing specific. I just haven't felt the pull towards them. Who knows? Okay, next. This is the Briar. And this is in the book, the Fairy Tale Pattern Booklet from Starlight Stitchery. And it was a combination of different designers. This one is from Sprouting Lupine. And I did not get very far on this. I started that top border. This is the color palette. These are from Forbidden Fiber Company. Really pretty. Very wintry. Maybe this winter I'll pull it back out, but that's more likely to be maybe January, February, because it's not Christmassy, it's just winter. But I really don't think it's going to happen this year. So this is the cute bag it's living in. I want to pull it out just for the bag. I love the bag, but I'm not feeling the project right now. So we're going to put that aside. Next is one. This is a pathetic start. Absolutely pathetic. This is Go Tell It on the Mountain. This was an exclusive at the Jingleball 2 years ago from Heartstring Samplery. I love the pattern. It's absolutely beautiful. And I started in on it probably well after Christmas. Yeah, that's it. That is it. It's a really pretty color palette as well, with the teal, olive, and kind of foresty green. I love it. But it's not seen any love. I did pick a couple of other Christmas ones that I do hope to work on this year. And this is probably not going to be one. And now I could, you know, I'm a woman. I can change my mind. I'm a cross stitcher. I can change my mind. I can do what I want. There's no rules. But as of right now, I'm thinking I probably won't pull this out for this Christmas. So it lives in here. We're going to put that one aside till next year. Last one that I pulled that I want to hold aside for the year and maybe revisit, because I don't think I'm going to get anything done on it right now. Love this one too, but it's definitely not calling me. Let's Talk Stitching from Hands On Design. And she's got hers on more of a chalkboard, black Ada. Sorry, my pile just fell. And I'm doing mine on a gray, which is Ancient Ruin from Fox and Rabbit, 32 count. So you wouldn't think I'm having such a hard time, but I keep missing the hole. I keep missing the right one. Maybe this is one that I need to stitch in the spring or fall so I can sit outside and see it better. Beautiful color palette. It's really fun. It's, you know, a little different than things I do, but I like the bright, not really cutesy, but just sort of chunky look once in a while for something different. So I do want to finish that one, but I'm not being pulled by it right now. I'm going to take a quick break again, go get the last pile, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with the final pile. Hopefully the lighting is still okay. It's only about 6 o'clock in the afternoon or early evening, so the sun is still up, but I'm in a shady spot. I don't know, but I'm not going to redo all this. This takes forever, and the editing's going to take forever, so it is what it is. I apologize. Anywho, so when you see this next pile, you're going to laugh, and you're going to say, oh, no wonder she put so many aside for not going to get to it, because there's a ton in this pile that I also didn't work on this year, but I may still not get to all of them, but these are the ones that I'm thinking have a decent shot of me either getting some progress or maybe finishing some of them. We'll see. This one is Finally Fall from Annie B's Folk Art. This is one that I started at an Annabella's online retreat. Did not get very far, but I forgot how much I love this. I love that color palette. Isn't that gorgeous? Such pretty fall colors. And it's not that big. I should be able to do that. It's only 104 by 94. So I should be able to do that in, you know, just a few days, a couple weeks. So I think this is going to make the cut for this year to try to work on this fall. I have no idea what I'm stitching that on. It's probably a 36 count because there's only one strand. Could be a 40. I don't have my glasses on. I think it's a 36 though. Oh wait, hang on, I have it right here. Excuse me, it's Shrekie's Tan from Needle Bling, and it is a 40 count. That's probably why I had put it aside. I am more comfortable now with 40 count than I was a couple years ago, so I am more likely to work on that now. But that's probably why I had originally set it aside. The next one, remember I was talking about Lola Crow. This is last year's The Deadly Aquarium. I'll put the picture here of what the final thing should look like. I caught up pretty well. With this one, I did not have that whole frame done at the beginning, which was, again, 6,000 stitches. I was maybe 1,000 behind, 1,500, and I thought, oh, I'll catch up, you know, no big deal. And then every week, each release is 700, 800, 900, or 1,000 stitches, so I never quite caught up. I was always 500, 1,000, 1,500 stitches behind. And eventually towards the end of the summer, I just stalled. And I think it was because it was just getting overwhelming that I needed to hurry up and catch up, but there was other things I wanted to do. And I thought, okay, if I do it next year, I'm going to get the whole frame done on time, which I did. And I've stayed pretty much caught up. And I think I fixed my problem since I've seen you guys. I did that when I was up at my dad's. So this is where I am. I have most of this done. There's quite a few little fishies through here. Don't remember what they are. Yeah, but they're fun. Fun color palette. Again, the detail and the shading in here. I mean, look at this guy. And I don't even have the back stitching on any of these. I stitch in hand, and you would think that that wouldn't mess it up more than a hoop would mess up backstitch, but I'm just so worried as I roll and unroll that maybe my fingernail will catch it or something, so I do my backstitch at the very end. This is the project bag for that one. All right, next. Now this one is a very pitiful start as well, but I think I'm going to be more drawn to work on this one. This is Trim the Tree from Jeanette Douglas, and I am doing, actually, I guess they're the same thing. It's the pillow versus the frame. This was also from Jingleball 2 years ago. And again, I got a very pathetic start on it, but I'm feeling the pink and the green and the red and the teal. It's really pretty. So I'm going to attempt to give that one for sure some love this year. Living in this project bag. Okay, keep moving. Because it's almost the end of my day. I have to do something else. I feel like I've been working on this video all day, stopping and starting between heat and rain and everything else. And I've got piles in there, and it's like I said, 6 something. My husband will be home in about an hour, and I would like to have dinner, if not ready, you know, ready to be figured out when he gets here. I know what I'm doing. I just need to start cooking at some point. Okay, next. This one I want to work on this year, and I was actually going to put it aside. I had kind of forgotten about it, and then Joy from Carolina Stitchers pulled hers out the other day. She's made a lot more progress. So, of course, it's FOMO. I got to get mine out. This is Farmhouse Christmas. I have a number of the patterns from this one. Actually, there's still more in the bag. I am working on the 3rd block. I'm not doing them in order. I started with the middle. And I've gotten a decent amount of progress. That first one, I believe is done. Second one is mostly done. I think there's a teeny bit in here, maybe just some backstitch. They don't take that long. There's no reason why. I don't think I'll finish this for Christmas, but I would like to at least maybe get another block or 2 done before this year's Christmas, and maybe next year I can get it done. Living in that same bag, sorry. This one keeps hanging around, and I'm not going to give up on it. I'm not going to work on it this year, though, and that's Snow Village. I forgot about that one completely. So that's where that is, but I am more intrigued to do the Farmhouse Christmas, so we'll make that a goal to work on that as some of my Christmas stitching, and put that other one aside for now. And maybe if I get that one done, then I'll feel more motivated to go back and do the other one. I have a lot of really big projects. I know better. I know I'm not going to get them done, but I don't know. I'm definitely a process stitcher. I enjoy having them done, but I enjoy the process of the actual stitching. I love starting a new project. I love kitting them up, picking the flosses. All that is just, that's my jam. So I am not going to berate myself for having so many things. I'm just going to tone it down a little this year and try to get a few done, and a few with some progress that haven't been touched, because I love these. Just like this next one, and this is my other Hawk Run. This is Halloween at Hawk Run Hallow. Love this. This is the first one, and I had started it on a very neutral fabric. I started up here, and I was just like, Memphis Sarah E had done hers on purple, and I went, oh, that's it, that's the ticket. So I restarted, and I restarted with the witches, sorry. I am doing, though, I wanted to do like a 36 count and couldn't find it in a color fabric I wanted. So I think I ended up on maybe a 32. It might even be a 28. It's going to be freaking huge. But that's okay. I like the colors way better. They're going to pop. And this one I think is one of the brighter ones with all that orange. They're not all going to be that bright. So I think it'll tone down as I go around. Got a good start on this last year with my friend Joni. Joni loves stitching. She had wanted to start it, and so I told her when she was ready, I was going to restart it with her. So I did, and I worked hot and heavy on it for a while, and then put it away. And there's that one. I just wasn't feeling Halloween in December, and I pulled it out, I think, a little bit in November, but I think that was it for that one. So I would like to get back to that one this year. Again, no finish in sight, but I would like to work on it. The next one now is a good possible finish, and that is Autumn Alphabet, and this is from Willow Hill Samplings, and I pulled this off of, I don't even know, saw it on Facebook, saw a conversion, went and found it and ordered it, and I worked on this quite a bit about 3 years ago, kind of forgot about it, put it aside, and I think I revisited it a little bit last year, but not much. So I have a decent chunk done. I have to finish that last pumpkin, and the border I think ends somewhere right in here. Do the kitty cat and finish the alphabet. It's not that bad. I potentially could get this one done before Halloween this year. Maybe in time to get it up to add to fall decorations. Maybe. We'll see. It is living in a project bag. Sorry, with Jack-O-Lantern Jubilee, and this is from With Thy Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais, and I love these. There's the other two, and they are coexisting in this little bag. Let me get reorganized. Hang on. And what I have so far on these is probably no more than my beginning of the year WIP parade, because I haven't touched it this year. I have my witch done, I have my little crow done, and I started in on Trick or Treat. So I'd like to finish that one for sure this year. Maybe start another one, we'll see. They don't take that long to stitch, and that would be cute dough bowl fillers. The next one, hang on, is from the Blue Flower, and that is Spooky Autumn Smalls. I did complete the moth last year, and I started the raccoon this year. Well, I completed the moth 2 years ago, I should say. There's the moth. And I started in on the little raccoon last fall, and I got, you know, maybe halfway done with him. That's a good halfway, I would say. So I could definitely finish that one before fall, and in reality, I really want to stitch all of them. I love them, but I really want to try that Viscorna. That is probably next up on my list. If I finish that one, I might treat myself to another start, and that's the fun color palette. They're not all in every single one of the stitches, but they work beautifully together. Love it. And that is living in that project bag. Most of what's in this pile is actually fall. Fall is probably my favorite thing to stitch, fall and Halloween. Okay, the next one, I'm going to insert a picture. This is from the Artsy Housewife. This is the first one that I had ever started of hers. And this is A Dream Within a Dream. It was originally released on her Patreon as the full chart. And it goes probably down to about right there. She has since released it for the public, and she released it in smaller versions as well. Like in the same pattern, you can, I think, do the full one, or just the raven, or just the skull. I plan to do the whole thing. I did work on this quite a bit last fall, haven't gotten to it yet this year. So some of these are not neglected. The last 4 or 5 I did work on last year. I just haven't worked on them yet this year. So within the last 12 months, I've worked on most of these. I just haven't in this calendar year, if that makes sense. So they're not all completely neglected. I started this one last winter. This is All Is Calm from Plum Street. And that little donkey is just the cutest stinking little donkey I've ever seen. I did get a decent little start on that. I got the ornament box from Chantelles last year. I have never purchased that before. I did get it last year. I haven't completed any of the ones in there, but I would like to finish that one this year. Maybe start another one, and it's living in that bag. All right, we're almost done. I think there are 3 left. We are so close to done here. Next up is one I touched, I think, a little bit last year, but not much. I did most of the work on this, I believe, 2 years ago. And this is Barbara Anna Designs Garden of Dreams. And I don't have a pitiful start, but I don't have a ton of it started. That's maybe 25%. But it's a good enough start that I love all of her patterns, and I would really like to put some more love into this. I've only, I think, finished one of hers, maybe. I can't remember. But again, a really pretty fall palette. I thought that would be fun to work on in the next couple of months, so I left that one out. And it resides in that bag. All right. Next, only 2 left. Midnight Watch from Blackbird Designs. I started this around the same time as Goody Grimwood 2 falls ago. Within a month or so of each other. I haven't gotten nearly the progress on this, but I do want to pull it out this year. I gave it a little bit of love last year, not that much. So here's where I am. Hang on this one. And that's the color palette. I think I'm missing 1 floss from this one. I think I had yanked that for a different bag. I can't remember. I make notes and stick them down in the bag usually, but not always. So, you know, decent progress on the top third of that. The house is what I'm, of course, looking forward to. The moon seems never ending. The border, I'm good. I stitch border as I go. I don't save it till the last or do it all first. I just kind of do it as I go. But I'm really looking forward to the house. And then letters, you know, they're pretty easy. The only thing I don't like about letters, are the starts and stops, because I don't want to carry my thread with a black floss on a light color fabric. So I stop and start my letters, and to me that's just sort of a pain in the rear. So that's the reason I don't like doing letters. But otherwise I love doing letters. If I can carry a thread, I'll do letters all day long. All right, and then the last one in the, I'm going to pull it out this year, Grimm's Haunt. These literally were all fall except for one. I told you they were mostly fall. I think 2 were winter. The rest are all fall. Grimm's Haunt, love this one. Palm Street Samplers. I don't have a huge start. I started in on that Argyle, so I still have quite a bit to go. I did give it some love last year, not a ton, but enough that I want to keep going on this one. I love it. Again, it's only 101 by 92, but with most of Paulette's patterns, those houses are a little bit of a beast. So, yeah, this is the bag it's living in. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up for the day. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for sticking with me if you're still here. I know I started talking faster at the end, but I'm getting frustrated. Remember how I said it was too hot, and then it started raining, and it stopped, and it started. Now it's muggy again, and I feel sweaty, and I hate to sweat, so I'm ready to go inside. But anyway, I appreciate you all. This is not a normal video for me, so go check out a different one that's not a WIP parade if you want something a little more similar to what I usually do. They're not usually this long. I'm going to have a lot of editing because I had a lot of bits and pieces that I'm putting together from going in and out to get my piles. So again, I'm recording this on Sunday the 27th. It may take me a couple of days to get it up. We'll see. We'll see what the next couple of days holds as far as video time. Last video, I had put a couple of older WIPs that I knew I was going to abandon up for, kind of up for grabs for adoption, and I was going to pick names. I have not forgotten about that, but I had so much to do to get ready for this, to iron all these and get them organized, that I simply did not go back through and look at those names. So when I come back in a couple of weeks, hopefully, I will pick names for those, and I will deliver on what I had promised. Yeah, it's not that I'm forgetful. It's not that it's just everything. Life happens. Life happens. It happens to the best of us. So anyway, I'm going to call it a day for now. I have a full work week ahead of me. I have trainees all week, so it makes it easier on the one hand, and on the other, it makes it just, you know, if anybody trains anybody at work, you know how it is. You get less done. You get more done, but you get less done. So, should be an interesting week. But anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Thank you for coming to my little corner of Flosstube and hanging out with me today. I hope you've gotten some stitching done. And please consider, if you haven't before, subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment, say hi, hit that like button, you know, all the things. Go back and watch an older video and see, you know, a little bit more what they usually look like. And I will see you next time, hopefully in a couple of weeks. Thanks.